I once had a life that was ordinary, simple, but filled with warmth. Every morning, I woke up to the sound of the person I loved preparing breakfast, the familiar footsteps, and those everyday questions that seemed so small yet meant so much. In the evenings, the house was always full of laughter, conversations, and sometimes little disagreements that quickly dissolved in understanding. Back then, happiness was not something distant to me. It lived right inside that little home. Then one day, without warning, an accident happened. In just a moment, the person I loved most, the partner who had shared countless memories with me, was gone. When I heard the news, everything around me froze. I could feel my heart shatter, but no words could escape my lips. The pain wasn't just about losing someone I loved. It felt like losing a part of my soul, a part of my past, and even the future I imagined. From that day on, the house became frighteningly quiet. Familiar corners suddenly felt strange. The chair they used to sit in was still there. The teacup remained out of habit. The wedding photo on the shelf weighed heavily on my chest whenever I looked at it. Every small object in the house, from a jacket, a book, to a fading scent, became a reminder that they would never return. The days that followed felt endless, without a real beginning or end. I woke up each morning without knowing why I was waking up at all. Even the light coming through the window seemed faded, as if it no longer had the strength to touch my heart. The house was so silent that sometimes I could hear the ticking of the clock, the wind slipping through the door, and even the heavy sound of my own breathing. Every corner, every item, every framed photo on the wall became a cut across my memory. The coat still hanging by the door, the pair of slippers neatly placed beside the bed, the teacup I couldn't bring myself to move. Everything whispered that this person had once been here but would never come back. I tried to clean up many times, but each time I touched something, memories rushed in, and my hands dropped helplessly. I withdrew into myself and avoided everyone. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to hear comforting words, even when they came from care. I was afraid of having to explain, afraid of hearing anyone say, "You'll be okay," because I knew nothing would ever be the same. I turned off my phone, refused to meet people, and was even afraid of the sound of knocking on the door. There were nights when I sat in the dark for hours, just staring into nothing. The sound of rain outside made the house feel even colder. One question kept circling in my head: why me? How can life be this cruel? I felt like I'd been thrown into a room without windows, without doors, without a way out. I was lost inside my own life. The despair grew so strong that I almost couldn't feel time passing anymore. Day and night seemed no different. I lost direction, lost hope, and lost any reason to keep going. The emptiness wasn't just in the house, it was deep inside my heart, spreading through every breath I took. But slowly I realized the pain would never change if I kept standing still in its darkness. Time wouldn't heal anything if I didn't step out of the invisible walls I had locked myself behind. At first, it was just small conversations with family. When my mother called, I stopped declining the calls. When an old friend sent a message, I replied with a few short lines. No one forced me, no one judged me, they just listened. I began to see that there were things I couldn't keep buried inside forever, because the more I hid them, the heavier they became, like invisible chains around me. Later, I joined a support group for people who had lost loved ones. In the beginning, I sat silently, saying nothing. But when I listened to stories even more painful than mine, I understood that I wasn't the only one who had collapsed under loss. In that place, no one looked at me with pity, and no one tried to offer empty words like, "You'll get over it." They just shared, listened, and existed together. And that alone made me feel less alone. One day, someone from the group invited me to join a volunteer activity. We visited elderly people living alone, helped at charity kitchens, and spoke with patients who had no one to care for them. When I looked into the eyes of people suffering even more than I was, something inside me, numb for so long, stirred again. I began to learn how to accept my own emotions, that sadness wasn't weakness, and tears didn't mean failure. I slowly spoke aloud the things I once only dared to think. I got used to the silence, but I no longer let it swallow me whole. Each day, even if just a little, I found small pieces of myself I thought were gone. I didn't forget the past. But for the first time, I understood that the past didn't have to be a prison. It could become a place to lean on as I moved forward. Time didn't erase the loss, but it taught me how to live with the wound instead of letting it consume me. I no longer broke down every time I heard an old song or saw something familiar. Instead, I learned to smile when I remembered the beautiful moments we once shared. I understood that the person I loved would not have wanted to see me collapse in the dark forever. They once brought me happiness, and I knew they would not want me to live the rest of my life only through pain. I began to let myself breathe a little easier, take slower but surer steps, and look at the world without the same fear that once clouded my eyes. I didn't forget, and I didn't try to. I simply chose to keep the memories in a gentler way, as a part of my heart, not a chain around it. The pain was no longer what guided me. It became a reminder of how precious life is, how love can disappear at any moment, and how we must cherish every second we still have. And today I can say I am still living. Not to escape the past, but to keep walking alongside it, with a heart that has scars but has also grown much stronger. If loss took away a part of me, then hope is the part I choose to protect.